Hello and welcome back to another card making tutorial. My name is Archisha from Kenchi school and today I'll be showcasing 4 cards, 3 out of which are created using a very unique stenciling method and the fourth one is out of all the scraps I collected from the other 3 cards. Here I'm just prepping my card base. This is the Craft Angles dual textured card base or cardstock, and I love using this cardstock for all my card bases. For the first card I'm using the Craft Angles 6x6 Damask basic stencil, and I am going to tape my card base only on one end so that it creates like a hinge. Now, rather than inking the paper through the stencil, I am inking the back side of my stencil. This is a very new technique. I learned it from our very own Jennifer Maguire and I really wanted to try it out. For this card, I'm using my oxide inks and I think this is aged mahogany and I think Victorian velvet, and the other one is spun sugar. Now I'm just going to make use of that hinge and fold my stencil directly onto the card base. I'm being very careful to not move the card base and stencil sandwich anymore, and I'm going to directly tape it on the other end. Now an additional step to get the impression of the ink and also have more texture on my card base, I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine with the arrangement of an embossing folder. So as you saw over there, I have my embossing cushiony mat in there. It's a tight grip, but hang in there, it's going to work out. And when you will pull the arrangement of the sandwich out and actually reveal the card base, it looks so intricate and detailed, and you can actually get this effect without having an embossing folder. Also, the ink is a little distressed. You don't get a heavy impression like you do if you would have gone with a ink brush or a blending brush. So it gives a very distressed look and I really found it very interesting. To create the elements of my birthday card, so this is going to be a birthday card, I'm using the Craft Angles balloon stencil and I'm using various texture paste. I use the gold texture paste, the unicorn dream texture paste and wine red, and this one is a pink glittery texture paste by Nuvo. I don't remember the shade color, and those are my balloons. Also, for my sentiment, I'm using the Craft Angles birthday word die, which is a coordinated die, and I am die cutting this out of the gold card base because nobody's going to know, the panel is going to go over it. See there, I hide the die cutting and I actually save a lot of, not a lot, but I save some cardstock. You know how we are miser with shiny gold cardstock. Next, I have fuzzy cut all those balloons, and for the balloons strings, I'm just using some dental floss. I couldn't find any other replacement, and I felt like this was the perfect texture and all the curling, so it's clean dental floss. Who cares, right? So I'm just taping my dental floss at the back of my balloons with some tape. And then I'm going to work on the placement of these balloons. I'm attaching few of the balloons with foam tape, few with liquid glue to have those difference of height and adding more interest. Later I'm going to gather all the strings and adhere my sentiment, which is the die cut, which is happy birthday, just birthday, on those strings. Next, I'm getting the entire panel onto the scallop shaped gold card base and snipping off the extra threads there, and then this entire thing will go on a white note card. Now here you see I've just written birthday, but when you see in the images later, I'm also going to write happy on top of it. So the entire sentiment reads happy birthday, and that is the first card for today. For my second card, I'm using the confetti background stencil by Craft Angles, and I'm going to try and work with some rainbow colors but not in the rainbow order. Here I'm using some distress inks, not oxide inks, and I think I used Wilted Violet, Kitsch Flamingo, Mermaid Lagoon, and Twisted Citron. And there you see, I'm not going in the generic rainbow order. I'm just choosing another order but similar colors. Now I'm placing my card base on that inked stencil, taping my card base on both ends. And again, I will be running this through my die cutting machine. But before I pull out that stencil and reveal those raised embossed edges, I'm going with a yellow dye ink and also making use of those little confetti shapes. So there you have that amazing rainbow color with yellow confetti all around. To complete this card, I'm using the Craft Angle Stitched Clouds die. I think this is a new die and I really love scenic dies with stitched details to them. And I'm going to make a layer of clouds. When I say layer of clouds, I have put double foam tape behind that first layer of cloud and single foam tape on the second layer of cloud. So it's like a step. And later I'm using the Girl in the Rain stamp set again by Craft Angles, and I have colored out the image with my alcohol markers, and I have also stamped the sentiment from the same stamp set. And it says you make the grey skies go away, and I really love that sentiment. For some added interest, I'm using some Nuvo drops by Tonic Studios in the color Dandelion Yellow. And that completes the second card for today. For the third card, I'm using the Starry Background Stencil by Craft Angles, and for this one, I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I'm using this ink because this is a water-soluble ink, and I actually had planned to splatter some water before pressing my cardstock. I did not eventually, but using a water-soluble ink is preferable for this method because it gives more movement and it dries out slower than the other ink, so you don't get patches. There I have already adjusted my card panel and I've run it through my die cutting machine. For adding my elements, I'm using this die by Simon Says Stamp. This is called the Neighborhood Wafer die, and I'm going to do some multiple die cutting. So I have die cut the same die out of 3 thick white cardstock, the dual textured cardstock, and also out of that stencil background. For this card, I'm going to only be using the white ones, and I'm going to create it in an inlet fashion. So as you see, I have attached some yellow cardstock behind the houses because I want to use it as the window lighting. I'm also using a cutter to curve my edges or the corners to just create some blunt corners. I will be doing the same for the note card as well, just something new, no real reason for that. And my note card is also ready. Now I am sticking my entire card panel with liquid glue, and for dimension and texture I will be using those wide die cuts. Now for the roofs, I will be adding 3 layers of the die cuts, right? So I have die cut it out of 3 white cardstock 3 times. So I will be layering the roof 3 times, but I will be layering the windows or the lower half of my houses just twice. So it gives a little more dimension, but there is more dimension on the roofs. I don't know if I'm making sense, but when you see the images, you'll understand. So this can be a really long process and therapeutic as well. I really enjoyed doing this. This feels like a jigsaw puzzle we used to solve as a kid. And take your time, watch some television or just watch Netflix. And there I have just added my sentiment. I think this is from the Little Princess stamp set by Craft Angles. I used a very offbeat cardstock. It is like a minty blue cardstock, and that completes the third card. Now there I have my three cards. Now the fourth card, I used all the remaining scraps from the other three and those grey die cuts that I had from the previous card. To add a little more interest, I have added the word hugs, the word die hugs at the top of the fourth card, and I'm also adding some very skinny washi tape. You know how we have washi tape stored because they're so cute, but we never use them, right? At least I am that person. So I decided to create some borders with my skinny washi tape. This is the first time I use them, and the color shade went very well with my cards. So on the grey card I've just used one washi tape twice, and on this one I've used two different washi tapes there at the bottom. Adding some morning dew nouveau drops to give a little gloss to my sentiment, that is hugs. I've also written sending at the top with just a black pen in very minute handwriting, and there you can see it better in the image. And that's it, guys. These were the 4 cards for today. I hope you guys had a lot of fun and would try using the stencil method. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more crafty videos. You can follow me on Instagram as well at kenchi.school. Bye guys.